Let's go live.
Let's go live.
Big up Therapy Army. Let's be having you. Big up to everybody. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, people. Happy New Year to everybody. Love and light. Free Palestine. Stop the genocide. Fuck Zionism. We say it from the beginning. We say it from the off. Big up to everybody who's in the house. Listen, we found our level. Let's get it right. Big up Jarvis. We sent you the link already. Big up to everybody. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. This channel is shadow banned. We are demonetized. So on the road to 10K, people. We're past 9K. Big up to everybody. Love and light. But honestly, we found our level. I think we will win League One. What do you think? We'll definitely challenge for League One title, Tom. Are we having it or what? Definitely challenge for League One title.
Listen, mate. I saw 5-minute spells where they bopped us. So...
Did you see them bopping us? Did you see the spaces between us? Oh my God! Listen,
this club, mate, shouldn't even exist if we're being real about it. They were in administration. The owner that bought them, a Chinese billionaire, a Chinese businessman, he bought them, and on the same day, he put them into administration. On the day that he bought them.
Wow.
And this club, let's be honest, guys, we couldn't fight. We were firing blanks. We were against what you said, Nuruddin. League One cannon fodder, and we were firing blanks. Let's be honest, guys. Enough said. Anyway, Bruno with that penalty, it was a disgrace. It was a disgrace. Let's be honest. But Anthony Taylor, mate, he referees at this level for a reason now, doesn't he? Let's face facts. We'll go on, Nuruddin, anyway. I think you're on mute, Nuruddin, anyway.
How's your New Year, Tom? How are you? Big up to you, bro.
Yeah. New Year was good and everything.
Did you have a chill out one?
Have a what, sorry?
Did you have a chill out? Did you chill out? Did you have a chill out?
Yeah. Well, I organised it at a venue and everything for some family and friends and stuff, and had a bit of food, some drinks and everything. So yeah, it was all good and everything. But put it this way, I wouldn't invite a Man United player to my fucking party or anything right now. I really wouldn't, mate. I think they've had too much turkey and too much sherry over these fucking festive periods. It's disgraceful. Look, come on, guys. We need to face facts. It's disgraceful. The level of opposition we played tonight, yeah, and everybody can jump on the giddy wagon of, well, we won 2-0, we're through the cup, we're going to play, I don't even know who the fucking hell we're playing next. Probably another nobody team at this same level. It's away again. Let's face facts, guys. That first goal, the first chance that they had, if that's in the Premier League, a top attacker sticks that away. They do. And you're 1-0 down in like 2-3 minutes. So it's the simplicities of it. If we come up against good opposition, we're going to lose.
Listen, at the end of the day, honestly, I don't see any hope in this. This football is not sustainable. I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't see any hope in this.
How many times have we said that in the recent weeks, though, Nuruddin? This football isn't sustainable.
I just don't see it.
I don't either.
I don't see what McTominay's position is. I don't see what Bruno's doing other than diving against League One. Fucking embarrassing. And Roy Keane says management is a project. That probably means he's gone in a few months. Roy Keane must know something. And yeah, it's shocking, man. It's shocking. Honestly, it's shocking. But bye, how are you? Happy New Year, Habibi. You good? I've seen you since New Year. I'm not seeing you since New Year, but Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. Happy New Year, Tom.
Yeah.
Everybody in the comments, Red Therapy Army, Happy New Year, guys. Well, it was boring, very boring game. I think it's a shame that the boys, we put out a strong team there, maybe hoping to just get the job done, and we could have done. Would have liked to have had it maybe 3-0, sewn up half time, get to see a bit more of our youngsters, really get to analyze what we're looking at here, give them a run out. But we couldn't, because the guys, the chemistry is not there with the forward line. And I think the wide players, I know they're hungry for a goal, especially Marcus, and Garnacho's young, so he wants to score all the time.
I thought it was shocking in the second half, Rashford, tonight.
But to understand that, have a bit of mercy on this poor guy called Hoyland. Help him, find him. And Hoyland has to improve as well his running, his runs when it's congested in the box, but that needs some work. But I think the only reason for jubilation tonight is the performance of Kobe Mainu. I thought it was terrific. I really, really enjoyed watching him. He was, for me, just consistently, constantly, the way he plays, the calmness, the speed of his feet. He's beautiful. I love him. I really enjoyed that performance. So that's about it for tonight. This game, hopefully we're through in the next round as well. It's either Eastleigh or Newport, so that should be a straightforward one. And the big teams are playing each other, so it is favourable. And I would really like to win an FA Cup. I do like the FA Cup quite a bit. It's as a kid, it's meant, especially if there's a nice dragon slaying in there. We could be the dragon that's going to get slayed. Who knows? Newport, never know. So yeah, it's that was what it was for me tonight. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Listen, big up Khalees Ramadan Lassie, Chief Editor, United Real Therapy. Make sure you check him out at Khalees Ramadan Lassie, at Khalees Ramadan Lassie on Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days. But big up to everybody. Big up to Mufc TV as well. Thanks for the super chat. Always appreciate you, brother. We need Bruno Penn to beat Leeds one side, but at least we won Greater Manchester Derby. Wigan were bad and still couldn't score. Exactly. Honestly, couldn't score many goals. 100% Mupsy, honestly. That's what I'm saying to you. He dived. He dived against League One. That's why I said to you, honestly, the title of the video is We Found Our Level. We found our level. This is what we are.
I wish I could say to you, I wish we could play Wigan every week, but you'll be bored.
That's what I'm saying. I think we'll do well in League One. I'm not lying to you. I think that's our level. I really think we'll look decent in League One. Swear to God. I'm not lying to you. I think we might challenge for the league in League One. What do you think? Tom?
To be honest with you, I don't really know how far it would go. Really, you play more games, so we'd all be complaining about that. At least we'd all have his wish we'd be relegated. Glazers won't be here. We'd probably be in administration. Listen, this is the football pyramid. All these clubs that go down, like Wigan are known for causing upsets in this competition. They defeated the odds when they won the thing. I think it was 2012 or 2013 when they won the whole cup and everything. And then they defeated the odds again when they got to the Premier League. Like I say, they defeated the odds when they beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City team. They're a team in this competition that have caused other teams problems, especially at home. But listen, at the end of the day, with our whole team, the only leading light that I can take from that was Kobe Mainu tonight. I really can. Everybody, I think a lot of the other players, all right, they put in decent shifts. Work rate was minimal, I guess, but you weren't playing against major opposition that were going to stretch you or cause you many problems. But at the end of the day, you've built a team, Eric Ten Hag, worth fucking hell, £400-500 million, and an 18-year-old kid shows them how to play ball. Like, that's just how I look at it. And overall, we're soft, guys. We are a soft team. Let's face facts. As a team, half of the time, players don't want to go into 50-50 challenges. They don't really like the physical duels that they have to go up against. I've seen so many players when they think the ball's dead and it's gone out towards the corner flag that they just give up on the ball as if it's a lost cause. But you see the work rate of, say, a Wigan player, for example, tonight on Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans, he thought the ball was just going to trickle out. No, somebody comes in, clatters him, straight into him, take the ball off of him. And then he puts a decent cross in the box, and fair enough, there was nobody in the box for Wigan. You do that in the Premier League, mate, they stick that on a centre-forward's head, and it's 1-0. But the issue with us is, as a team, like Bombay said, we lack clinicalness. We haven't got any killers in this team. We haven't. And the one thing that I've seen as a digress from Marcus Rashford is, as much as everybody last season, when he got into certain areas, was telling him to pass the ball, I think the persistence of telling Marcus to pass the ball all the time has got into the guy's head to the point where he doesn't know when to shoot or when to pass. And it's almost as if so many times I saw him drag the ball, especially in the second half, drags the ball to the left-hand side to put a crossing with his left foot, but he drags it that far away, he digs the ball in the ground, and you can't get any lift on it. Or he just takes it out of passage of play to the point where you can't do anything with the ball, Marcus. It's going to the byline. It's going to the byline. You can't wrap your foot around the ball, so you fuck the opportunity. And at the end of the day, we know the level for a lot of these players. We've said it before. McTominay, he ain't good enough for Manchester United. You look at it even as an aspect of the whole team. Delo, let's face it, apart from the goal, guys, that's probably why you got the man of the match tonight. In most people's eyes, anyway, was a decent enough finish. But I've seen him do that before. I've seen him do that against Tranmere Rovers 4 or 5 years ago, mate. Nothing changes. And as a whole, when a League One team can pass the ball consistently in patterns and angles better than Manchester United, that just sums up our whole system and with this guy coaching. And when you have the major layoff that we have in this month of January, where I think we're going to play another 2 more games anyway, and then you've got the next round of the FA Cup in it as well. So I think it's 2 or 3, I can't remember anyway. But 2 or 3 games in this period is enough time, Nuruddin, to work with these players. It's enough time to work with them and drill them in. And they ain't doing it. And as much as I'm going to say it with Højlund, the kid doesn't get enough service, absolutely. But there comes to a point now where when you get a chance, Rasmus, in your mindset now, when you get a chance, you just have to take it, lad. You have to take it. Anything that they throw at you, you're just going to have to try and score it. If it's a fluky header, if it's a deflected ball, if it's, I don't care what it is, you're just going to have to ride your luck out and hope you score. Because you might only get one chance in this Manchester United team. But that's all these players are prepared to create for him. And at the end of the day, as a whole, we can summarise our whole team performance tonight when our captain has to fucking beg, dive, plead as if his leg's fallen off, to the point where Anthony Taylor stood right in front of him and he gives a penalty. And let's face it, if that penalty doesn't get given, there's about 5, 6, 7 minutes to go, guys. They're going to loop the ball 50, 60 yards upfield, play long ball FC, and they're going to make it rough and tough for you for the last 5, 10 minutes of that game. And most likely, the atmosphere, we know with these players, they can buckle. We know. We've seen it before. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of these players gassed out and they checked out after last season. They thought, like, I look at players like Rashford, has one decent season in about 9 years and suddenly thinks he's made it. 370 grand a week. Thank you very much. I'll take my payment and I'll see you later. They've checked out completely out of this guy's plans. They have. Because if you can't see a systemised style of play against Wigan, I'm worried. I'm really, really worried. And for me, to summarise as a whole, quality-wise in this squad, you've just seen tonight the level of a lot of these players. The quality isn't there to play in the Premier League week in, week out. And it wasn't, again, against a League One cannon fodder team who, quite frankly, could have been in extinction because they've been in administration and financial problems for the last year. They've had an 8-point deduction at the start of this season as a football club. They sit 17th in League One. This is no joke. We're talking about a team that tonight, in patterns, bopped us around the field. And it's no Manchester City. It's Wigan Athletic, who a club, like I've just said, could be in extinction right now. Could be another Bury. But nobody wants to talk about it based upon, oh, well, we won the game. Yeah, you can win a game. Listen, you go to Newport, you go to wherever, and you might fucking lose. I don't trust these players. And at the end of the day, this manager doesn't pull himself out the firing line with some of the decisions that he makes. And then the comments that he comes out with tonight, oh, it's a knockout game. The FA Cup, it's just about getting through and winning this, that, the other. Well, at the end of the day, I don't like I say, I checked out with these players a long time ago. And this manager, he's not going to pull the wool over my eyes. They'll go to Spurs and they'll probably lose the game again if they turn up playing like this shit.
We're at home to Spurs, by the way. But yeah, 100%, Tom. I agree. Big up Indiana says we need killers as managers to anything for years now. Well, I don't think the manager's saying a lot of shit at the moment. And honestly, now the moment he's like a headless chicken. Honestly, I'm not lying
Do you
to
know
you.
what,
It's like a
Nuruddin?
man caught in a cross.
I'll be fair in saying that. I think he's a guy that he doesn't know what his future lies. I really do. When you think about it, he's got 1 year left in his current deal. Realistically, he's got a year left in his deal. He doesn't necessarily know what the plans are for the future with him, whether it's with these guys above him or not. And also, he's been told that there's not going to be any significant movement in the market to help him right now. For me, that sounds like a guy who doesn't have 100% faith above him. Because if you 100% believe this guy, you'll do everything to try and help him out. And as Indiana says, if you need to help this guy out, you need to get him some killers in this team. He needs some forwards that are blunt, that can actually fire some rounds.
Listen, I can't see it.
Yeah, I can't see it.
I can't see 25%. 25% workers. There. By the way, this week and the last week, with the past couple of days and all last week, the PR. I can smell the shit PR from every angle. He's gonna do this, gonna do that, and guess what? In January, like Tom says, loans.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, guys.
Loans. We're gonna do loans.
Jimmy flied in from Monaco. I told you all. Did he speak to Man United fans? Did he? Did he? He went round all training ground. They did a meeting. They got the presentation up. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to be successful. I'm here for silverware. Every person who buys into a business doesn't do right. If I buy into your channel, Nuruddin, do you really think that I'm going to buy into Nuruddin's channel on the basis of what? I want a placard. I want a YouTube placard. 100k. I want silverware.
Listen, no. You might have more chance. You will never buy into my channel. My channel, we're shadow banned and we're demonetized. We're failing. But big up to you, Tom. Big up Steve Kramer. Big up Indiana as well. Long time. Happy New Year to you both. Happy New Year to everybody in the chat. This is Love Nuruddin, boy Bombay Tom. Hope you're well. Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year to you too, Steve Kramer, man. Love and light, man. Love and light to everybody. Listen, I thought, honestly, the performance, I thought we started off all right for the first 20 minutes before we created. But come on, for fuck's sake, people, get a grip. This is League One. This is a team, like Tom said before, that should not be competing at all. Big up to the Wigan fans. Big up to all the Wigan people who basically rescued and saved their club. Honestly, I mean, the fact that a Chinese owner can buy you one day and the next day put you in administration is shocking. It tells you everything you need to know about fit and proper tests and all that BS. Honestly, it's shocking. It's shocking. All of it is what is being done here is shocking to Wigan. So well done, Wigan. Well accounted themselves. So they have a transfer embargo. They have to sell all their players, and they promoted all the young players. They're basically under 23s. So majority of what we played tonight is not just Wigan. We played Wigan's on the reserve team. And we found our level. Get a grip, people. Honestly, we found our level. I swear to God, Spurs to bob us off that part. If Wigan's reserves can do it, they can do it. I'm telling you now. Wigan Spurs can do it. They can do it. I expect us to get bopped, people. I genuinely expect us to get bopped. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I expect us to get absolutely bopped around that football pitch. And it's Sunday, 4:30 on Sunday, Super Sunday. And that's where we're at with Manchester United. So I expect us Spurs to come and absolutely bob us around that park. That's what I see it. Honestly, we get danced. Get danced around that. Honestly, that's what we're going to do. It's going to be murder on the dance floor. That's what it's going to be. Murder on the dance floor. That's what I expect. I don't expect anything else. I do not expect anything else. So tonight, we thought, you know what? We might see maybe 4 or 5 goals. It's League One. League One. A majority of those are like young kids who are promoted from their reserves team. I thought we might see 4 or 5. You know what? I'm not seeing Manchester United score a 4 or 5 this season. So I thought I'll tune in tonight. What did I see? Some dog shite. First half, we created some. I mean, the maker ally Rasmus missed sitters. He missed one header. He should have done the other one. The ball was bubbled to him after Bruno shot. And Rashford and Bruno, greedy fuckers. Absolutely greedy, stinking the place out. You think about it, they only put in one good ball in that whole of against League One. They only found Rasmus once against League One. So it shows you. Did you guys, what Ricky said, McTominay is the best player? Nah, man, Ricky just that to troll. Honestly, Ricky is a troll. Honestly, Ricky's trolling us. Ricky is trolling us. He's just trolling us. My eyes don't lie to me. Ricky's just trolling us. It's just, honestly, we're short of any enthusiasm, any spark. And yeah, by far the best player. I didn't even know what the flipping Annie McCoy was watching. Yeah, the only player that is, when you saw on the ball, that did bits was Kobe. Rest of us still look shit. How can the rest of us look so shit? When people go, people can say, oh, it's a system that Eric Ten Hag's playing. So why does Kobe look every time he plays? He looks levels above, whether he's playing against League One reserves or he's playing against the Premier League team. Ow! And just to me, this manager, honestly, like I said, he's gonna sack himself. I promise you, he's gonna sack himself. He will sack himself. Carrying on with Scott McTominay and the likes. That midfield, that's not gonna save him. That's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. And everybody, and then this mysterious illness is gone by, eh? Everybody. I saw Van Dijk got ill. That's Liverpool. What other clubs have had players that were ill? Not that many. Manchester United, in the last month, we've had about 5-6 players missing games, right, left, and centre because of illness. Not even injury anymore. It's illness. It's just beyond me. There's no future in this. I don't see any future in this. And Dodgy Dave and quarter sexuals ain't gonna save you. They ain't gonna save you, man. Quarter sexuals, you need to remember, Dodgy Dave ain't saving you. Dodgy Dave and Jim the Rat ain't saving you. They're not saving you. So big up to the United fans tonight. 7,000 of them singing their hearts out. We want Glazers out. We want Glazers out. I heard it loud and clear. ITV didn't censor them. It was not Sky. They were not on flipping TNT. They're not on bloody Amazon. They're on terrestrial television. And I heard it loud and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Big up to them. But Bombay, honestly, there is no hope, nothing for me to get excited about. And big up to Sean, by the way. Sean called it early.
Well, sorry. I think I mean we've won the game. It's not going to change in one day. We are still playing the way that we've been playing. It's pretty boring, but we're through. That's the main thing. And then now the big test is Spurs, and that is a big test because Spurs. You've got to understand. Put it into the viewfinder what Ange Postecoglou has actually achieved so far at Tottenham Hotspur. So this guy is playing some of the most fun football that you'd love to play in and I love to personally watch. I'm not really a guy that tunes into Spurs, but I am at the moment. I'm really enjoying them. They lost the best player in the team and didn't replace him. And he's, even without centre backs, having to play Davis and Emerson Royal as centre backs without Madison. He insists on continually playing out from the back, keeping the possession, and just, transitioning quickly. They're a joy to watch, and he's implemented his vision with the same team, more or less, that Conte had, but done a complete turnaround with them. And I mean, if you did a combined 11, Manchester United, you'd get some Man United players in there for sure. And he's missing Van der Ven. Udogi's had some issues. Romero's suspended and been injured quite a bit. Madison's not back till the end of January. And you watch Tottenham and it's a breath of fresh air what they're able to do. And that's because everybody has bought into this style of playing. Everybody knows their job. And I just wonder why we have not been able to do anything even remotely close to that. So I think Tottenham,
because our coach doesn't believe that he can do the routines and patterns in training. He only believes he can do that in games. It's just absolute bullshit. Let me just get this super chat. Big up to Alien Tenor. Alien Tenor says, 60 on Sunday. Gonna be fun nerding. Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday. Looking good, Alien Tenor.
Yeah, man. Alien Tenor, listen, happy birthday, man. Next time I see you, shout you out a pint, no problem. We'll go to the hotel and get a drink after a game. Make Mr. Trainer the coach.
No, man, no. Get him a herbal tea.
I'll definitely get him a herbal tea. Honestly. Yeah, so this is it. They're close to extinction, and the owner of Wigan Warriors dipped in his hand to pocket to save. Properly offered them life supply of pies. Yeah. The pie merchants. But honestly, it's unsustainable. What we've seen in this football is unsustainable. And then Ten Hag came out with this yesterday. Nuruddin. I said, what he said about Van der Beek. So he basically accused Van der Beek of pretending that he's injured and not playing. No, Van der Beek has the right to go get me out of this. It's been a nightmare for that kid coming to this football club. So he probably said, I want to get the hell out of here. But then he was blaming him for being injured. While he backs and plays people like Martial and brings back Rafael Varane and all these people. So that's the way he was speaking about him. I'm just like, he's just bitter. Now he just sounds bitter. Honestly, sounds like Mourinho, negative and dull. Nothing saying about good luck to the kid. I hope he can get his career back on track. None of that. Just moaning. Absolutely moaning.
I mean, Nuruddin, technically he's still contracted to United as well because it's only a loan. So you've basically just kicked the kid out of the club. And what exactly respect do you have for him if he goes to Frankfurt? Let's face it, if he doesn't pull up any trees, he's just going to come straight back to you. And you've basically already exiled the kid from the club by saying that he faked injuries and blah, blah, blah. There's this missing injury bug, though, guys, around this football club because I'm losing track of how many players have either been ill, injured, mistraining, done whatever. The list is endless.
Boys, look,
I'm sure we're breaking world records with the amount of illnesses we've had in this squad. It's like this squad's been hit by the black plague.
Let me just do one thing. I'm saying we appreciate your comments. We appreciate, but I'm not having you call anybody Scottish scums. Never. Not on this channel, bro. You're at the wrong channel if you're calling anybody for being Scottish scum. We never take a nationality and then because we don't like certain people, then tag the whole nationality on two people. No, I'm not having that. But I hope you apologise. We've got Scottish people who tune in. We've got a massive fan base in Scotland. And even if they weren't tuning in or they're not here, we will always stand up against calling any nationality, calling English scum, you know what I mean? Brazilian scum or whatever. We don't use that language. We don't. Ali McCoy is socks off Scott McTominay. Another one. There's a line of them. There's a queue of people who absolutely think Scott McTominay, Scott Hideaway, well, that's what it is. Scott Hideaway is brilliant. Just because he scored goals for Scotland, that don't mean that he's good enough for Manchester United. He's not. But tonight, he found his level. He even looked shit against League One. And that is fucking hard to see that. Majority of them look so shit against League One. That's a God. Even Bruno looks shite against League One. And that's where we're at. And these are not even League One. Read about Wigan. They've had to sell majority of their players and promote their youth team and reserve team into a first team. Go ahead, Sean. Big up to you. Happy New Year, man. Sonny LA.
Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, guys. Big up everyone. I was listening to John talk and reading before. I think the first thing I want to address is it was nice to win. I have some Arsenal fans that I keep trolling in a group chat of mine. So I joke that we have a bit better chance of winning a trophy this season than they do, because we've gone to the next round of the FA Cup. But yeah, with regards to the Van der Beek thing, first of all, I think Ten Hag is right to say that Donny van de Beek, the Donny van de Beek that he met at United, is not the same player he had at Ajax, and that's not Ten Hag's fault. I blame that on Solskjaer and the management of United.
The club,
in
the
time.
club.
Yeah. But that to me sounds like a true statement. That I don't read that as accusing Van de Beek of faking injuries or anything like that. I read that to me as a manager saying, "Hey, I was here for a tough time. I didn't really have the bandwidth to babysit you, Donny van de Beek, in addition to everybody else and everything else I was managing. So it's unfortunate, but I wish you the best. Goodbye." Everybody knows that Van de Beek career is over at United. That's not we should never have signed him in the first place. And if we signed him, he should have been given a chance to play alongside Bruno or instead of Bruno in many games. But unfortunately, maybe he didn't have a temperament to cut it. Either at United or at Everton as well. No worries. I like Van de Beek. I wish him well, wherever he goes to play, and everything. You were saying that this is not sustainable. I agree with you. I don't think anybody expects us to sustain this type of performance. I don't think that's the plan to maintain this level. I like where the team is basically moving forward now. I'm looking forward to Martinez coming back, Casemiro, Mason Mount. I think I was telling people as well. I think we're at rock bottom, and the only way to go up from here is up. Basically, nothing that could happen this season can be any worse than the shit that we've seen now. Caveats that I don't expect us to get relegated or anything like that. So that's not even in my realm of possibilities. But it can't get any worse. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So from here on, when Casemiro comes back, Martinez, some of the other key players we have, I expect the team to have like a late season, basically resurgence. The question is whether or not in the summer or anything we can make smart decisions and build for next season.
Yeah, big up, Sean. Thank you. Happy New Year. I disagree with you about Donny van de Beek. I thought if you watched the press conference, I thought Erik ten Hag was really disrespectful. Really disrespectful. You know what? Maybe Scott McTominay, maybe not Scott McTominay, maybe Donny van de Beek doesn't even fucking recognize you from the manager that you were. So you were never going to use Donny van de Beek because you've abandoned the type
but
of
he wasn't the one
that you were playing. Listen, the type of football that you were playing at Ajax, you don't want to play that at Manchester United. So why would he make himself available for you, or even for you to recognize him? Because you're not playing the football that you played together at Ajax. But
I'm sorry, but that's just not Van de Beek's call. That's not Van de Beek's call. In this case, like Van de Beek is
no Van de Beek. Listen, Van de Beek has been in a nightmare. He's been in a nightmare.
And that's not
I have not seen. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have not seen a club treat a player like that. I don't.
It's only
hopefully
I think it's
one day, hopefully when he retires, I hope we can get a documentary out of him. I really hope that, because I'm just so curious of what happened. I genuinely told you what happened. But big up to everybody. Let me bring Jarvis in. First of all, we say, you know what? Rest in peace to Frank Beckenbauer, one of the great
Franz Beckenbauer.
Franz Beckenbauer, one of the great legends of football. What an amazing footballer! And if you know, for you, especially the FIFA generation, if you don't know what a sweeper is, I know they talk about sweeper keeper. There used to be an actual sweeper, and he's one of the first. He bought that kind of play in the sweeper role. Like he made it into a bigger stage in the World Cup. So if you want to see what kind of player Franz Beckenbauer was, find clips or videos of the 1974 World Cup, and then you see what type of player he was. Absolutely incredible player.
They call it the Libro.
Yeah, Libro, but you can. The people also call him the Kaiser, the Emperor, Kaiser. That's what people call him, the Kaiser. So that's how German fans know him. I've had a couple of exchanges today, a couple of like WhatsApp exchanges with some German friends who are absolutely demanding him, because I think he's only in three people in the world, throughout the world. He is part of a three who won the World Cup as a player and as a manager.
I think it was the first.
Yeah. So the other one is Didier Deschamps. But I don't know who the other one is. It's Didier Deschamps, Franz Beckenbauer. I don't know who the other one is. Maybe the chat can get it. A player, as a player to win the World Cup and then to have managed in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Was it Italy? Who was managing Italy? Who was managing Italy in 2006? Was it Dino Sub? Who was the manager of Italy? Somebody remind me who was managing Italy in 2006 in Germany.
Or a Brazilian guy maybe.
Actually, is it Carlos? It's Roberto. Was it something Carlos?
Marcelo Lippi.
Marcelo Lippi. Did he
I
play?
just look it up. Which is actually weird. Like you know this thing that they say that.
It's the Brazilian guy. It's something.
That they're listening to us.
Yeah, it's the Brazilian.
I just
guy.
typed who managed Italy and you put up 2006 just in case the algorithm, the internet is listening or AI. Just put
It's not Marcelo Lippi. Marcelo Lippi didn't play for Italy in 1982.
You say play or managed in 2006.
Yeah, so
Zagallo.
basically,
Mario Zagallo.
Zagallo, that's it. Mario Zagallo, yeah, that's it. So it's Mario Zagallo in 2002. So Franz Beckenbauer was the first, 1990. He won the World Cup in 1974. He's won 3 leagues. He won 3 Champions Leagues, equivalent to the Champions League. 3 Champions Leagues. He won the World Cup as a player in 1974, and then he managed Germany in 1990 to win the World Cup. So Mario Zagallo followed on in 2022, and the other one is Didier Deschamps.
Yeah, I think that's right.
There you go. That's our football knowledge, mate. I'm undefeated on World Cup football knowledge. Bring it any day.
Do you remember the 1990 World Cup?
Best World Cup I've ever seen.
Italy.
I was 8 years old.
I remember the opening game with Cameroon against Argentina, the defending champion. Cameroon won the Lions, and they had two men sent off, and they won the game 1-0 after a big mistake by the goalkeeper. I think he's called Pompidou or something like that. That was the name of the goalkeeper. That was shocking result. So was a good.
The defending champions, Maradonna's Argentinian defending champions, who actually went on to go to the final. Right? They went to the final. Okay, Jarvis, we're here. Quiz night. Who was the second team to lose the first opening game, and to go to the final and win it?
The opening game.
Yeah. It's a recent one. It's a recent one.
Yeah, it has to be a recent one.
I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
Argentina.
It was held in a continent that the World Cup's not been held before.
Argentina.
No.
When it was in South Korea and Brazil.
No.
Okay.
No. You were close. South
Africa.
Spain.
Yeah, South Africa. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, they lost their first game. They lost the game Switzerland. Remember, they lost against Switzerland in the first game, and then they won the World Cup.
Spain, right?
Yeah, Spain. It was Spain.
Okay.
It was Spain. But listen, Jarvis, let us know what we are. We're here. We're sitting here. We're saying we found our level. The title of the show is that we found our level. McTominay looks shit. Bruno looks shit against League One. And they're not even League One. They're youngsters because they've had to sell all their players, Wigan, and if they're reserves and youth team. And the likes of McTominay didn't look at our place. We are horrendous. So give us your match reaction.
No, dude.
We did. I'm sorry. What I was watching was shit.
This Scott McTominay thing has got to stop at some point, guys. This is like the Scott McTominay bashing channel. That's all we talk about.
I don't know what you're watching.
What's wrong with you guys, man?
I don't know. Listen, I want to.
You know what? Big up Amar Hussein. Actually, maybe put that comment back on it. These are just anti-Scottish. These Dino and Co here. What's wrong with you? Every week
we call it as we see it.
It's Scott McTominay.
What
Give
is
it a rest.
Guys,
Give it a break.
It's so shit. It's unbelievable how shit it is.
Man. Give it
it's so shit. Go
I
ahead,
agree
Travis.
I agree with you, Nuruddin. I think they found their level, and McTominay, everybody knows he's not good enough. You see it when how he handles the ball, and when you play against like lower league teams that you are much better than, you have to be precise. You have to have tempo on the ball. You have to pass the ball with precision and pace, and to play around them and show your level, but we couldn't do that. Today was a lot of individual brilliance from Garnacho, from Rashford. I wouldn't even call it brilliance when it comes to Rashford.
Can we just hold it there? Can we just show some love to Ahmad Hussein, please?
Yeah,
because
respect.
Make a mistake. Anybody can make a mistake as human. None of us are fallible. We all are as human beings. But when people apologize, we absolutely show them some love. So you know what? Thank you so much for the apologies. Big up to you, Ahmad Hussein. Like I said, we appreciate your contribution to the show when you come on. And you're a valuable member of Therapy Army. So when you make a mistake, you just apologize. Like you just done, so well done for apologizing.
Yeah,
it takes a bigger human being to apologize.
Is allowed for everybody, but not Scott McTominay. His apology is not accepted on the Real United Therapy, is it?
I swear to God, he is a captain for Wigan in League Two. Those youngsters, they will do with it. I swear to God, he did not look out of place. Go ahead, Jarvis. Sorry to interrupt you. I just have to
but there's not much to say about the game, But I talked about it with Mick and Uncle Jimmy and the other guys on our channel, and what I miss is I would say we don't have a style of play, but we have patterns. We see some recognizable patterns, but I talked about style of play and I see glimpses of it. But when we play against a team like Wigan, we should definitely have a style of play, and we should just run through them and win the game easily. Okay, we created 33 chances or 32 chances. We scored 2 goals. One of them was I would say a cheap penalty, and the other one was a beautiful goal from Dalot. But in a way, you could see with McTominay, every time he had the ball, he took down the tempo. He tried to dribble and shoot and on repeat, and this is what he was doing for the full 90 minutes when it comes to me. And he created a lot. He had some key passes. He had a lot of shots on goal. But for me, it doesn't. You have mentioning this before, Nordin. You talk about it's not sustainable how we play from Bruno to Rashford. Try to score. That's our only way of pattern of play when it comes to attacking play, and it's not sustainable. And for me, it's frustrating to see that Ten Hag doesn't do anything about it. He just continues with the same over and over again, and it's obviously not working at the moment. So I'm not sure what to do with Ten Hag. I think he's stubborn beyond belief, and for me, I think he will die on this hill. And when it comes to McTominay, that's just another example, doing the wrong thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Is he stubborn or just shit?
No. Listen, Scott, the Ten Hag, it's got the Scott hideaway titus. That's what he's got. He's got a virus, and it's called Scott McTominay virus. That's what he's got. Big up Agostino Zinga, man. Big up to my brother. Listen, I want to come on the podcast, man. Big up to you, King. Donny is good enough to play for Manchester United. We're not Real Madrid. And midfield is our weakest position. The arrogance of some of our fans. We have
I mean, who is this guy? But who is this guy telling? Like, my point was that we should tell Ole. It was Ole's choice to not.
No, it wasn't Ole's choice.
It was Ole's choice to not bench Bruno at all for Donny van de Beek, not give Donny van de Beek a chance. It was under Ole that Van de Beek's heart got broken and he turned into the shell of the player that Ten Hag is now complaining about. I think the McTominay thing too is a little out of place, considering that we had so many chances in this game, not just from Rashford, but from Højlund as well. So many clear-cut chances that we should have taken. I saw a game between a much better side and a side struggling in League One. The chances reflected the difference in quality, basically, that was there of the game. I would rather we talked about how good Kobe Mino is, how good Garnacho looks from the right, playing in. Let's be thinking about who can come in to help Højlund start up front, what the team is going to look like when Casemiro comes, because I can guarantee you guys that McTominay is going back to the bench the same way it has always happened. As soon as Casemiro and Mason Mount come back, McTominay is going to the bench. Let's not pretend like Ten Hag is playing McTominay because he just likes the way McTominay looks. Did you see the bench that we had today? Like it was. We had, I think, at least 9 or so under 23 players between the bench and the starting 11. The guy doesn't have a choice. But when Casemiro and Messi Mount come back, I think we're going to see a different team. And we should be looking forward to the latter half of the season.
Okay. If you say that, Sean, why at the start of the season were we still seeing the same boring shit football even when Casemiro was there? And everybody still blamed the problem that, Casemiro's legs have gone, he's not the same player as last season, he came for the paycheck, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, we're still leaking goals now even when he's not in the team. And even before when he was in the team, we're still leaking goals and losing games and playing shit. So you can play Casemiro, you can play McTominay. It doesn't make a difference. The way that we play right now, it doesn't matter who you put in there. If the guys don't have a plan to follow or they don't know how they're playing, how do you expect people to actually take on instructions when it's quite clear that the manager hasn't set out a way that he wants to play and given the specifics of it? And if I have to give an example, you have Eric Dyer at Tottenham Hotspur, who Ange Postecoglou refuses to play because he can't play the system and the way that he wants to play. So what does he do? He pulls him completely out of the team. If Eric Ten Hag was any decent coach or manager, he would identify that Scott McTominay isn't a player that can be utilised in a system that is based on possession-based or transitional football. And if that's the way that we're going to go, take him out of the team then. I've seen other coaches do it at other teams. Why is Eric Ten Hag so stubborn and shrewd to do it? But I mean, McTominay gets a bypass at this club anyway, guys.
You mentioned two contradictory things. You can't play possession and transition football at the same time. You can't play both of those things. McTominay works for what Ten Hag is trying to do. How does Spurs play?
Tell me how Spurs play, please.
I explained this thing to you guys before. I think Spurs, Postecoglou, just like Pep, just like Klopp, is from the same school, the same football school of tiki-taka, high transition, quick ball recovery. They are all from the same, originally, what's his name, Johan Cruyff school of football. They're all descendants of the same philosophy. Now, there's a different side of football, the Mourinho, Simeone style, the Sean Dyche style that is more direct. They are competing styles of football. You have managers who are like Ancelotti, who are really involved in the tactical thing. Different people have their different approach. This idea that every single manager has his own signature, whatever. The thing we're saying about Ten Hag started this season with Casemiro, Messi Mount, and Bruno in midfield. It wasn't working. He didn't get a chance to put anything through to the players because everybody got injured about 3 games into the season. Now, you can say that's because we played too many games last season. That's fine. But you have to address the circumstances as they actually were. Not, in some theoretical scenario that we wished it was. The guy never had a chance this season to implement anything that he wanted to do. On top of that, he made some bad decisions in bringing in Messi Mount and bringing in Onana.
If we're going to go down that, Sean, you play 2 games in January. In those 2 games in January, you have how many weeks in January? 4? There's 4 weeks there that you can build something. After January, are we going to see a style of play or not? Because that's enough time to coach. That's a mini pre-season.
So I'll answer the question by saying 2 things. One, I think we're going to play better second half of the season than the first half. That is my own contention. Secondly, I think the style of play has always been there. I think there's a clear pattern of what Ten Hag wants to do with his centre backs, with his wing backs, with his strikers, with his midfielders, and all of that. Whether the players we have are able to do it, whether the manager should be making better decisions by playing better players in those positions, those are all separate questions. But he does have a plan, and I do think we'll do better in the second half of the season. That's just my own opinion.
Jesus.
Well, that's a very optimistic. Big up to you, Sean. You did call it, say, right after season, and now you're telling us the season might be.
No. I'm not saying we'll win anything. I'm saying we'll do better in the second half of the season. Is what I'm saying. I expect us to find some consistency, to have a resurgence second half of the season, and end up 4th or 5th or whatever. But we'll have a rally.
Fucking hell.
But Sean, you talked about style of play. Yeah, you definitely have a plan. But do we have a style of play? Do we see a style of play?
No.
And that's what worries me the most because we don't see it. I understand his plan. We know he wants to play out from the back. He wants to keep possession. He wants to overload. He want to press high. You want to have a high line. You want to play from one side, create triangles, shift play, cut in, and we all know this. We saw it in Ajax. We saw it how he played.
It's an
and
idea,
this is what
Jarvis.
we all expected.
Jarvis, it's his idea, but he can't implement it into these players. And he's had 2 years, and he's had 2 years to try and do it. Most of those players that we said about from last season, and most of them are still here, guys. And he's not exactly pulled up any trees to improve.
Can I ask you guys
most
a question?
Let's
Last
be
season,
honest.
was there a style of play?
Last season,
No,
I don't think there was. No,
so.
I think it was literally just hoof it up, try and make as many chances as you can, and try and take them, and then sit in. And most of the time, we just got goals on the counter attack.
I think last season, Sean, Erik ten Hag, at moments you'd think, oh, something's happening, and then it would just be moments like we've had with previous managers. Oh, are we onto something? Looking, I'm seeing something develop. I'm seeing partnerships develop. I'm seeing an understanding, and hopefully it's going to culminate in crescendo into something that we're going to be entertained by and watch. That didn't quite materialize, I think, because we were hunting results and we had objectives, which we hit. We got in the Champions League and we got a trophy. But the problem with this year is you think we're going to take that, we're going to make some signings, and now is the year where we can start to ask a little bit of, what are we as a team? I agree. I'm with Tom. If you gave me the right manager now, I would change him. But I will say to you this: I don't want anybody to come in as an interim manager. What I'd rather do, if they're not going to get someone to the summer, say, okay, look, there's no more excuse for we're playing 3 games a week. That's done.
True.
And we're going to get Casemiro and Martinez, and people are starting to come back.
You'll get
now.
everybody back. Yeah.
We'll get everybody back. So either let's really be certain as a fan base. I know it's polarizing, but sometimes you just go with it anyway. Let it continue. If the players come back and everything is turning around all of a sudden, and then we're happy, I think we'll all be together on that. But if he runs it right into the ground, I think by the end of this season, half a season left with the players that you've got, everybody comes back, should be enough to either make a believer out of somebody like me or Tom, who are throwing the towel in depending on what you're going to give us, or not. That's what I'd say to you. I think it could get better when he gets his players back. Let's see what happens to the end of the season. But I think that's enough time.
What gives me hope is the fact that it's not a science, right? And again, this style of play thing, it's an element of what managers do, but a lot of what they do as well is charisma and man management and luck, and that part Ten Hag has been lacking significantly in what he's meant to do. If you ask me in the summer, all the money that we spent on Onana and Mason Mount, we should have given all that money to Tottenham, given them whatever they wanted, and signed Harry Kane, right? And brought in Højlund for a small amount of money, or brought in any other striker anywhere. We already had Kobe Mino coming through. We should have kept it here and just made one single signing with all the money we had in the summer. That's what should have happened. But unfortunately, that's not what Ten Hag did. And given everything that happened this season, I'm willing to give him the benefit of time. I think Sancho going to Dortmund will have a good effect on the squad. Again, I think these guys are human beings, and just the way things have played out this season for the football club, I just think the energy in the team is bad. And there's no way that the manager can pass across any instructions. That's the missing link. You know how in physics or electrical engineering, there is a conduit from one side to the other. The conduit from the manager's head to the pitch is his relationship with the players, the energy in the dressing room, and that part is missing basically from what
I don't know about.
Listen, I'll just say this, boys. Last thing. I think last thing, just to move on, and people like Donny van der Beek and Jadon Sancho and whoever else is going to go out on loan, listen, good luck to them, because as a club, if we want to sell these players, they're just going to languish. They're not on show. If Donny goes and does well at Eintracht Frankfurt, we can use that money. If Sancho goes and it's resurgent, we can use that money and we solve 2 problems. But if they just stay here and do nothing, they're not on the show. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a bad thing.
I understand, Bumbai. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. But this was the comment. This is one of the strangest. Big up Muhammad Ali. Big up my brother. I think he's in Houston, if I'm not mistaken. Big up. If that's Muhammad Ali that I'm thinking about. Big up to you, Texas, all the way in Texas. Love and light. This is what Ten Hag said. Then he said, this was talking about Donny van de Beek. Then he said, opportunities were few because we made appointments, agreements with players. There was a conflict in those positions. Competition was high.
I mean, I think Donny van de Beek for me is
what does that mean?
That has been injured a lot. And when Sean is trying to explain it, I do empathize with what he's saying to an extent, because the guy can't seem to stay fit. He had a lot of serious injuries. Yeah, I know he's been available, but we don't know his levels. I was never convinced by him in the Premier League, and we had this disagreement, me and you. I said to you,
he was never given. Listen, he was never given a chance. Let me say something. I'll say it off the bat right now. 7 to 8 to me. 10 games in a row you get given. 10 games. You see where your level is.
No, nobody gets 10 games.
No, yes they do. Yes they do.
No, they don't.
Yes they do.
No, they don't.
Yes
they
do.
don't.
Yes they do.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Yes they do. And I'm going to give you an example. Fred got 10 games after Jose Mourinho was giving him 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, one half here. And
you
then
have to
Ollie
earn those games,
and gave him, let me finish. Ollie came in, gave him 10 games in a row. That's how Fred became a Manchester United player. 10 games he gave him in a row. 10 games.
Bro, look, I have to be honest, yeah.
Even in
Sunday
let me say
league
something to you now.
let me come back at you. Hang on a second.
Let me break something down for you. You need 4 games to get to match fitness, right? 4 games and 6 games to show where you are. So 4 games to get to match fitness.
What
right?
I think I'd say to you on
go and show what you can, and I won't mind. I won't mind if Manchester United have midfielders that were world beaters, and that Manchester United were competing for Champions League and the league title.
There's no competition. There's no competition. There's no competition.
I don't know what you're talking about. But let me listen. I don't want to get distracted. I'm going to go around and ask this question. Tom, what the hell does this mean to you? And then I'll go to Jarvis. And Bombay, I'll promise you, I'll come back to that argument with Donny van de Beek. Because you say that no player deserves 10 games. We'll come back to that argument. Me and you can argue that till the cows come home. But this, to me, is one of the most strangest quotes ever. Then his opportunities were few because we made appointments and agreements with players. There was conflict in those positions. What does that mean?
Can I just ask you to clarify what you think that means exactly and what it's alluding to before you throw the question at us, so that we have a context?
I think it's a good question.
Yeah,
good question, Bubai.
Yeah, what does that mean to you? What's the problem? Like, what do you read into that?
We made appointments and agreements with players.
Okay.
There was a conflict in those positions. Right. So the bit that to me that throws me off, we made appointments and
what does that mean
with players.
Do you guys that understand
appointments is more or less bringing player power, yeah.
But that's a normal thing.
Players are told, regardless of how shit you are, you're going to play again and again and again and again and again and again.
Doesn't that mean we made appointments, and isn't that saying to players, these are the goals that you have to hit in order to play? Isn't that a standard that we're setting across the board?
It might be even simplistic than that, Bombay. It might be as simple as soon as I come in, I want a consistent run of 10 games to play for your football club or something, to hit the ground running, or I want a settling in period. I want 2 or 3 weeks to transition with the squad. It might just be something simple like that they want to agree upon. But I mean, all this tells me is what I've known for years. The players have run this football club. They ran it for 3 years with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Vibes FC. They ran it on the last year with Mourinho, where they were on a doddle, for the last 6 months with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then with Mourinho at that time, and they pissed about with him. And then now you're in the same boat with Erik ten Hag, where as much as we said about the success that we had last season, you won the Carabao Cup, you got to the FA Cup final, yeah. But by doing all of that, you sacrifice trying to build something and a style of play. Because for me, I would rather have done what Tottenham have done this season, where fuck about winning anything. Let's just play good football. Let's try and build something, and the future we'll see where the future takes us. Right now, we're not sustainable to win anything. And if these comments are coming out now from your club manager to say that there's some conflicts in positions, competition isn't high when you haven't got players that are fit to play in a midfield. I remember a couple of weeks ago, we were all sat here and there was only 3 midfielders we could choose from. 3. And every single week, those same 3 were going to play. That was Kobe Mainu, that was Amrabat, and that was Fernandez. Those 3. And when we sat here and we all said, what is going on with the injuries in this football club? And then we also said, well, when you have these players back, selection's still an issue with this guy because you can't get your head around some of the selections that the guy makes. We argued for weeks and weeks till the cows come home about why Marcus Rashford wasn't taken out of this squad, why Fernandez is undroppable from this team, why Scott McTominay has persisted in this team. And this comment here culminates probably all those 3 things that I've just said. Why there isn't a player power, why the player power within this football club instills managers' decisions. And as much as we've said it before about who influences internally in this football club, clearly the players in this club have far too much control than they should do. We are not Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea, for years under Abramovich, ran that dressing room. Whoever the manager was, whatever reputation, Mourinho's, Ancelotti's, the lot, they ran that club. But do you know why? They had successful leaders who'd won everything. So in that culture, in the same way that we had it with Fergie, let me make this last point, in the same point that we had it with Fergie, where we won everything, but we had group leaders who could play that way. And who had those mindsets of, we're going into every game and we're going to win. It wasn't about who played. It was about the collective performance. Even if you come on for 5 minutes, stick a tackle in, make a foul, yellow card, whatever. You do your job to the final minute of the game. These players, with the money and contracts that they're on, it's disgraceful. And if these are the things that go on behind the scenes, guys, when they renegotiate contracts, like they did years ago with Phil Jones, you give him a 5-year contract. He didn't play, I think, 5 professional games that season for United. And I think he barely played 10 for the rest of that 5 years. Are we really shocked? This is our football club.
Look, Tom, I just want to say collectively, you guys that know me and I've been on here a lot, I don't really dabble in conjecture. I don't claim to know things that go on inside the club. What I like to do is deal with things that are within my control. And the things that I feel are certain to me. There are examples of Mourinho playing McTominay instead of Pogba, of Casemiro being dropped for McTominay when we were saying he's not playing well and he's playing much better. So I don't put any stock in Erik ten Hag is told or influenced with regards to who he plays. I think he has free reign to choose whoever he wants. That's something I'm certain of. I think a collective style of play.
Okay, quote the word there. We. Who's we? Is it his coach?
Manchester United. Manchester United.
Is it Darren Fletcher? Is it all these people above him? We. Who's we?
He's speaking as a representative of the club.
I think when you say we, I'm talking about the entity that is Manchester United, and we have a manager at the helm who decides exactly who he wants to deploy and how he wants to deploy, and he's not influenced by anybody. They are to me his subordinate to him when it comes to the pitch. They're there at his disposal to help him. I don't think there's any such thing as influence. I think players, I think with our midfield as well, the statement that Nuruddin's talking about, that Structure's talking about, I see it as a collective statement that's thrown out in a general sense for the players to say, look, these are the certain things that you as an individual have to hit these key points in order to be in contention. I think the thing with our midfield is, obviously, I believe there are some good players there. And I've seen them play, and they didn't just become terrible overnight. This whole team tonight, the entire collective performance of everybody, barring a single player, was below par against a very poor opposition. So this is a common theme. You know, you take a Bruno and you put him in a City team, you see a different player. He was a different player. No, okay. But one thing I'd say about our midfield is this:
Pep Guardiola will never have him. Never have him.
Okay,
a player that gives the ball away like that.
Let me just continue before I lose my frame of thought, please. We've got in this midfield, irrespective of the quality of the individual players, a midfield that's quite varied. You can deploy defensive enforcer type of midfield depending on the opposition. You can put Amrabat, Casemiro, McTominay in there. You also have the option of having Eriksen, Bruno, and Mount, or Kobe Mainoo. You throw them in. You have a different type of approach to a game. They bring and influence the way the game is going to be played, depending on who you deploy. So sometimes I'm not even getting into the injuries yet because, you know, thank God Maguire wasn't sold. Thank God Scott McTominay hasn't been sold because you've had a lot of injuries. Eriksen's been out, Casemiro's been out, Mount's been out, all long term. So sometimes you also can't play 3 games a week. You do need a Scott McTominay in there. Thank God Mainoo has come. Imagine you didn't have him. So we are thin on the ground. I get it. But Erik ten Hag, man, as well, he's got, you know, the players have to consider what he thinks is best for the game. That can dictate the type of player that you choose. Now, if you're a Man City and you just have creative players all over the pitch, then you just have creative players all over the pitch. But what City have, obviously, is a style, is a system where everybody's comfortable on the ball. But we don't have that. So I think there are things we have to consider with regards to Erik ten Hag, and I don't want to kick a guy while he's down.
It's not about kicking a while down. It's just asking the question. It's a fucking question because this here.
Well, I'm giving you.
Okay, well, I've heard
a type of answer. Yeah,
I've heard the answer, and respectfully, I disagree with a lot of the things that you said.
No,
but I want to go to Jarvis because I want to get somebody else's point of view. Go ahead, Jarvis.
Yeah. Can you just repeat the quote again, the last part, because it was really interesting in a way.
So it says, so I remember watching it when I listened to it, but I missed this bit. I must have got distracted. I've got ADHD. One of the first times to be distracted. So he says the comment before that was that he's had lots of injuries because I didn't recognize the player at Manchester United. Don't know if I'm to be the head of Ajax. He said then his opportunities were few because we made appointments and agreements with players. There was a conflict in those positions. Competition was high.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you can take it the way you want, but
and he said some, and I think some must start over. It's just I don't know, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, you can interpret it like one way. He was taking having a dig at Donny because he didn't leave on loan in the end of the transfer window.
But that had nothing to do with Donny. That was Manchester United that stopped that. Manchester United stopped that because of the money, Jarvis. The money. So basically, I think it was. What they called Real Betis.
He had the chance to go somewhere else too, and one club in France and one club in Spain.
No. There was one club in. I think he was. I don't know what it was. A club in Turkey or something like that. He didn't want to go there, right? And I respect that. Yeah, he didn't want to go there, right? But the club that I think it was Real Betis. I think it was Real Betis, and Real Betis were like, "No, you're gonna have to pay majority of his wages." He had nothing. Donny was ready to go. Donny was like, "Get me out of here." You know what I mean? He was jumping.
But it was one club in France that wanted Donny, and Donny rejected them. But then Donny came back in the last minute and said, "Okay," but then they rejected him because he was too late. So there was something going on with Donny.
Yeah, the only one that I know 100% for certain was Real Betis.
Yeah,
Donny was ready to go, and Manchester United could not pay the wages.
But either way, maybe he took a dig at Donny. The other thing you can interpret it like he's telling everybody that there's some player power, and the Glazers are running the show. That he's a puppet in a way, and they control everything. Maybe that was the quote. But you know, if that's the thing, I'm shocked because how can you say that players are how do you create a competitive environment and a hierarchy where the best players are going to play if you have contracts and obligations and deals for players to play.
Agreements, he says,
and agreements.
I think fellas, have a look at this comment here.
That's true. That's shocking.
Have a look at this comment here from Wendy. It's an interesting.
agreements with the players. There was a conflict in those positions. So he's talking about there was a conflict in midfield positions. The position he's talking about is midfield, right?
Look, Dino, read this comment out. It's interesting. It gives you another insight into it. What Wendy's saying, when you've got a guy that's injured, don't forget we're having to bring Amrabat in, for example, because we're short on numbers. So that's agreed, and he comes in. Look at here, this comment. It's interesting because sometimes injuries force your hand. You make agreements, you can't go back. They have a knock-on effect on Donny van der Beek. I mean, if Donny's a really good player, I don't think he's just come in there and think, I hate you, I just don't like you.
I feel like
there
we're
is
reading too much into it.
Yeah, I think there is some realistic, things that have taken place. Why would you reject a great player that is perfect for your system and can help you? I don't think so.
My great player, perfect for your system.
He's not playing that system,
guys.
But we dropped Rashford for a number of games, so it was if there was a player power, Rashford would. Because listen, Rashford. Be honest as well, Windy. Rashford was like, I'm ill. Rashford went on the ill list, or I was injured and then he was ill. I can't see your comment, Windy. I cannot see your comment. Let me just.
There you go.
We're reading too much into the Van der Beek, into the Donny.
What about if Ten Hag was simply lying and he didn't play Donny because he didn't think it was longer going to go? Well, I don't care what he thinks. Listen, just say that then. But for me, what you're saying.
Yeah. That's what he's saying, Nuruddin.
That's what you're saying simply. When you say we've made. I'm sorry. This is crazy. And another thing that came out of one of his press conferences, he was like, "Oh, the pressure to play for Manchester United." He basically needs the pressure to manage Manchester United. I'm like, Eric Ten Hag, get the fuck out of it. Get the fuck off, Eric Ten Hag. Because I'm not saying get him out, but I'm like, fuck off with that comment. He basically said, "Oh yeah, it's because the guy asked a really good question." So they talked about, I think they talked about Donny, the same question about Donny. The guy asked and said, you know what? Donny was on the Ballon d'Or list, right? Let me get this right, people. He was on the list of the Ballon d'Or list of 30 players, nominated. He was nominated for Ballon d'Or. It might have been 30 or whatever he was, right? But that season, he was amazing, right? And he's a young player. He's one of the most talented young midfielders in Europe. Real Madrid wanted him, but Real Madrid couldn't afford it something. They had some financial issues. And I think it was COVID or whatever came, and then something happened, and they couldn't afford it, or something. Something happened at Real Madrid. So everything was agreed with Real Madrid. Could you imagine his fate? That's extraordinary. Like, everything was agreed with Real Madrid. He was on his way to Real Madrid. Then something happened, and then Oli didn't want him, 100%. I know that for 100% certain. I got it from somebody who works for the club. I got it from somebody who works at the club, and they don't lie to me. They don't lie. He did not want him. He wanted fucking Grealish instead, right? So the reason why we keep going over this, because we don't know what he's saying here. He said, we made appointments, agreements with players.
Let me tell you what I think. Let me tell you what I think he's saying, Nuruddin. Let me tell you what I think he's saying there. I think part of what goes into footballers' contracts when they sign for a club is their status in the team. Are you a key player? Are you a squad player? Are you a first teamer? Are you somebody who how much playing time do you get? All that stuff is discussed between a player and a manager when they're going to a club. It's why a player will say, I expected to get more playing time here. That's why I went to this club. Those are definitely things that you factor in. So it's not news to me, or it's not a surprise to me that a manager or a club would make such commitments, even if it will not be spelled out explicitly that you get so and so amount of matches. You would make commitments as to the status of a player when they join the team. Again, I want to remind guys that like the damage to Van der Beek was already done when Ten Hag came. The damage to Donny was done under Ole's regime, and it's him that should bear the brunt of the blame for what has gone on with Donny. It seems to me perfectly logical that Donny van der Beek doesn't feel at home or welcome at United, and that he wasn't even motivated to put up the same way Dean Henderson said when Ten Hag came. He didn't want Ten Hag to see him, so he left. I won't be surprised if Donny van der Beek was in a similar frame of mind and like, you know what, I just want to leave not just Manchester, but England as a whole. Because even when I went to Everton, I didn't exactly like it here. I don't like it here. I want to go somewhere else and play my football. And Ten Hag is saying, you know what, it's not the same guy I had. It didn't work out. That's what I read that message as a simple it just didn't work out. Made appointment and commitments to other players. Competition was too much. Donny doesn't really like it here, so he's gone. We wish him all the best.
Sean,
And
also don't
it.
forget, bro, that this isn't only he's not the player I had. This isn't the job I was in, nor is it the situation that I had, nor is it the club that I had.
It's
So
not.
there are a lot of factors. So I think with this, good luck to him. It's great for him to showcase what he can do now at Eintracht Frankfurt. That could solidify a good move for him somewhere else and bring him back onto the bright screen because he's a good player. Sometimes the timing is wrong, the situation is wrong. We've seen that happen with previous players in many clubs. But Sean is right. Ronaldo, when he speaks about Alex Ferguson, when he brought him in, he said, he promised me that I am going to play. I'm going to get good game time. That was one of the reasons that I trusted him and I came. So I think when a player is looking to make a move, if you're going to go to a Madrid and get, one game every 10, or you're going to come to, let's say, Tottenham, and you're going to get regular game time, that's a major factor. That's a major pull.
Yeah.
That's a way where you can offset the money they're willing to pay and the glitz and the glamour. So this is another factor, I think.
Okay, listen, we'll get to the bottom. To me, it's just very strange. And I can't believe English is because of lost in translation. I think players made agreements and appointments and agreements. To me, it just sounds ridiculous. But I don't blame. You know what I mean? Ajax. That's one of the things that Ajax fans did warn us about, Jarvis, was the fact that he was stubborn that players who played will always play the same shitty players, even when he's got better players on the bench. But big up, it was Real Solidad. Sorry, Sealy, big up to you, brother. Thank you for correcting me. Big up to you. It was Real Solidad. Everything agreed. Everything came to it. Manchester United in the last day kept negotiating, trying to do what they do, the bullshit, and then that was it. Another punishment.
Sociedad bought a Russian guy from Dynamo Kiev or something like that, and because they have it on the free because of the war, so he could go for free. I don't know. Something happened, so they made a better deal. And Lorient, something in France,
it was
came
Lorient.
in, and
he didn't want to go there. He didn't want to go there. He didn't want to go there.
He rejected them, but then he wanted, and then they rejected him.
But he really wanted to go to Real Solidad. That was the team that he wanted to go to.
That's true.
He agreed everything, and they were like, "You're paying the wages, majority of the wages," and Manchester United were like, "No, we're not. No, we're not." So again, another punishment. I just wish that kid free. Please, Frankfurt, I beg you, please. Just free him. I swear to God. I'm telling you guys, I would not mind, Jarvis, staying with you. I would not mind if Manchester United midfield was pulling up fucking trees. I wouldn't mind if we're challenging Champions League titles, and the midfielders we have are just so much better than him, so much more world class than him. Then we'd be like, you know what? Sorry. Even then, he'd have to put his hand up and go, actually, I can't get in that midfield.
But we have a history, and we have a history in this club by buying ball players, good players, and they don't succeed. We have Kagawa, we have Mkhitaryan, we have Donny. So there's a lot of history in the club with players like that who's technical on the ball, and we don't get them to work. I'm not sure why.
I actually loved Kagawa. I actually loved Kagawa. I thought Kagawa was brilliant. Honestly, every time he played, he excited me when I went to the stadium. Honestly, I don't know how he looked on television. I don't know what managers saw, but every time I watched Kagawa, I thought, wow.
Paulo Dybala is a great player. I don't know if you guys agree.
We need bodies, so
I'm just this is a point, bro, where sometimes, man, you have a type of player. Like the Veron is a good example. He's a really good player, but you just can't find a way to shoehorn him in. And he almost becomes a luxury player. This happens. This happens, unfortunately, sometimes. Paulo Dybala can't play for Argentina because it'll mess up Messi. Juventus sold him. Now he's in Roma, where they're trying to get the best out of him.
He's become a very injury-prone player as well. Let's get that right. Very injury.
He's injury-prone, but even when he's fit, he won't start for Juventus because they can't shoehorn him in, and he never plays for Argentina. He didn't get a sniff at the World Cup. I don't even know if he played it at all.
We need a striker, so I'll take anyone from here. The guys Dybala. I'll take anybody we can get this January. We need somebody to come and just be. We need a body, somebody better than Weghorst at least. But we need a striker. I think this January we need to sign someone. I know there are financial fair play issues. I know people don't like to hear that either. One thing I was going to mention was that like the way to think of these players, the way the club sees them is as assets on their balance sheets. Finally, like we would love them to think of these players as more or as what they actually are. But there's also that part of it. These guys are assets on the balance sheet, and the club has to consider the value of the investment, whether or not it makes sense to sell a player that they bought for X amount for Y amount. What impact would that have on the numbers? These are the calculations that, unfortunately, since we are not owned by a state, by a nation state, or by an oligarch like Abramovich with Chelsea, they have to consider. I don't think all of this is going to change with Ineos. So, I'm fine with getting rid of Van de Beek. I wish him all the best. All the best. Go and play at Eintracht. Enjoy your mid-level football somewhere. Just have a good time. Love that for
we
you.
can talk. That's what we're playing.
I think
We're
interesting.
No, but
level.
But it is true. But it is true that the United jersey is probably one of the heaviest, basically, in the world to wear.
Nothing to do with that. No, Chan.
I'm sorry,
no,
but like
I'm sorry.
the spotlight.
I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry, Sean. If you play 10 games in a row, Sean, if you play 10 games in a row, I would say to you, yes,
that's a luxury. That's a luxury.
No, that's not a luxury. I just explained it.
No footballer.
Sean, I just explained it. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry to say this to you. I just explained it. If Manchester United are constantly in a semi-final or final of the Champions League final, or if Manchester United are taking the league,
there's still pressure with them, man, to win games, bro.
I mean, the league. No, let me finish. If Manchester United are taking the last week of the league title, the last 2 games to a league title, and then the midfield is brilliant, playing brilliant, and it's the most solid part, and that's why we're going to the last week for the championship and the last, the final in the Champions League, then Donny himself will come out and say, you know what, I wasn't good enough to get in there.
No, but it doesn't need to be that way. But
this was Scott McTominay and fucking Fred who was thinking out the place regularly. They were trending. They was that bad. They were called Mac Fred. That was toying, and that was trending weekly. So I'm sorry to say, Sean, I reject you on Bombay's logic. I reject it.
But our logic is not incompatible.
Because I saw the same thing. Let me finish. I saw the same thing. Let me finish the point. I saw the same thing. Jose Mourinho did not want Fred, right? Fred was costing 25 million at the most, right? At most from Shakhtar. City were interested. Edward would went over there and said, we'll give you 50. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. Jose Mourinho wanted somebody else. They were like, no, you're getting Fred, and they got Diallo that season, right? Fred came in, played. I was at the game against Wolves. Remember, his first start, he scored a goal.
Milinkovic-Savic or someone. I think Jose wanted Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio.
Lazio. Yeah, right? So he comes in. He's there. Exactly the same thing that's happening to Donny. Dropped here, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here. He's injured, whatever. Ollie comes in. Boom, straight away, getting that team. 10 games in a row. And we were like, wow, Fred's playing every game now. Ollie likes him. And then what he do? He proved something to the manager because he got 10 games. So I'm sorry to say to both of you, Manchester United were mid-table, 5-6 mediocre football club.
No, but right? You gave me one out of 5,000 examples.
That's what we were when Donny van der Beek came to us. Donny van der Beek came to us. We were mediocre football club, right? So we're mediocre midfield players. So I'm sorry, guys. I beg you. A guy that makes into the list of the fucking Ballon d'Or comes to our club and sits on the bench. I'm sorry. 10 games is the least.
No, but like why I'm saying our positions are not incompatible is because none of us here is saying that Donny is a bad player. Nobody's saying that. I think where we disagree is that like I don't see a conspiracy by anybody other than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to deny Donny van de Beek playing time. Donny van de Beek is a victim of a terrible 2 years at United or 3 years at United. He was unfortunate to have come in that time, and we wish him all the best. Like it's not Ten Hag's fault that Donny is in this position to be. I don't think Ten Hag owes Donny or owe Donny anything. To be honest with you, I think it's very possible.
No, but Ten Hag, Sean, Ten Hag's telling us he owes the other players who started ahead of him something. He just
that's not what
I made agreements. I made appointments and agreements.
Well, there's different takes on what that actually means. We've been through it.
I don't read that as promising anybody anything ahead of Donny. I read that as simply saying,
what does it mean when he said we made agreements with players?
It could mean a variety of things. That's what we're discussing here. There are quite a few options, bro. It's not a simple, listen, Donny, you're never going to play because I promised this guy or that guy.
Appointments and agreements with players. There was a conflict in those positions.
There's also what do you want from your midfield? There's 7, 8 midfielders that you've got there. There's injuries.
Yeah, the conflict
who you play. There's a lot going on with this.
And Donny wouldn't have solved our problems, That's why I don't like.
No, but I'm sorry, but this is what I'm trying to say to you. The shit show of football that I've watched, from Ollie to Ten Hag,
I tell you,
Donny van der Beek. I'm sorry to fucking say to you guys, Donny van der Beek deserves to start at least 8 games, 9 games. Jarvis, please. Did Donny van der Beek deserve to start at least 9 games in a row? 8 games
but I actually think Ten Hag wanted to give him that chance. He gave him, I would say, like 4 to 5 games in a row, and then he got injured. He got this knee injury last season
in the cup.
I don't remember that.
He did.
Yeah,
it was going well, and he played all right.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
I think he tried,
don't remember
but that was it.
I think he came on a couple of substitutions. He didn't start any games. I'm talking about starting. Like I said to you, you need 4 games in 90 minutes, right, to get match fitness, right? You need at least that.
I think Donny played some key games against the
No, I didn't
think he had like 4 starts in a row, right after the World Cup, and then he got injured.
He got a bad tackle. I think, who was it against? It was in the cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, knee injury, some kind of the scissor tackle thing. Yeah.
Up until then, he done all right. As he's saying, I think we're on like 4 games.
Look, Nuruddin, what you're calling out is one of Ten Hag's main problems. He speaks like a professor. He doesn't have he just opens his mouth.
No, he speaks like he speaks to us like we're children. He's absolutely waffling now, talking about like I said, the journalist Jarvis asked him and said, why would you want to come here if you're a young player? And he was like, with the pressure to play for Manchester United. And it basically means it's hard to manage Manchester United. I'm like, fuck off. You came here, you were like, things change.
Nuruddin, his answer to that question,
the arrogance which he came in with,
his answer to that question was that it's the toughest place to play. It's one of the toughest places to play football. Therefore, any player who's still interested in playing at the highest level would want to come to United because it's such a challenge. That's what I read it as.
Sean, I'm not going to lie to you. I go to the stadium. I live in the city. I promise you.
No, we're talking about English language here now.
Everybody in the world thinks that Manchester United are shit. Everybody in the world, Manchester United are shit. We've been shit for a fucking decade. There is no fucking pressure to play for Manchester United anymore. Now, after Fergie left, yes, I agree. 100%. I agree with you, and I agree with every Manchester United. We're not that fucking football club anymore. That's why I refuse to watch the fucking Netflix Beckham thing. Because I don't want to just have nostalgia.
Are you saying
Remember
that
berries.
Are you saying that like we can no longer sign players like other clubs? Because if that's your argument, then of course
unless let me finish. Unless you're gonna pay 300 or beyond. Nobody was going to give Varane that. Varane was injured prone before he left Real Madrid. Nobody in their fucking mind was going to give Casemiro that money. Nobody in their mind was ever going to give Sancho that money. Nobody in their mind is giving Marcus Rashford that money. I don't disagree
with you, but that doesn't change the fact that Manchester United is still the most talked about, most reported on football club.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. I think if we put aside what you guys are arguing about,
I'm sorry, there is no pressure. When Fergie left, yes, When Fergie left,
let me
the
say
first two
this point,
years,
yeah.
yes, not anymore.
How can you say there's no pressure, Nuruddin?
I think,
look at the shit
Sean,
that we've
listen
been
to
through
this.
for the
Sean,
last 10
listen
years.
to this, bro.
Like,
I think,
we've
bro,
ruined people's lives, people's careers,
I'm sorry,
people
there's no
depression.
pressure.
Papa went into witchcraft.
There is
Like,
no
so
look,
much
pressure.
has happened.
I think that Manchester United, whoever
There
comes
is
up
no
to
pressure. We've
bro,
been
look,
shit.
Jesus.
There is zero expectations.
When you come to play against Manchester United, everybody wants to beat United. It's a nice scalp. It's still Manchester United. People come ready, prepared. You play that bit harder, bro. At this club, yeah, if there is absolutely no pressure, why are we even having discussions about why we're underperforming? This guy's doing bad, the manager's no good. Bro, there is a level of expectation. Look, there is one thing me and Sean maybe have a bit of a divergent view. You know, we get to the crossover, we take a different road, which is for me. I say Erik ten Hag, you know, I'm ready for another manager because you're not hitting my expectation. This is way below par. Where, you know, you're expected to be challenging in getting into that top four. You know, we've given you a good amount of money here. We've not got a style of play. The results are nowhere near it. The signings are poor. You know, if think of just the 400 million alone, which is constantly thrown out there all over the media. Every rival fans are saying, you know, that amount of money has pressure. If he'd paid 20 million for Anthony, well, I'm not really bothered. This is what you get for 20 million. But when you pay 85 and you sanction it, and when you buy Onana for 50 and you buy Casemiro for 60, that comes with pressure, not only for the player. These are your
Anthony
players.
for 80.
There's no pressure.
Do you understand? No, there is,
The
bro.
only pressure from the players,
Ten Hag now has
from the
grey
owners.
hair.
Let me finish. The only pressure was to finish top four. That's the only pressure that comes from the top. Nothing to win trophies or anything else. It's to finish top four to bring them commercial revenue. Big up Alien Tunnel comment of the night. We sold Dan James and bought Anthony. And the thing, the sad thing about the most interesting thing about James, we actually made. He's the last player we made some profit on. We made profit on him. He's the last player that we actually bought, made money on.
Man, there's pressure because Erik ten Hag is going to get sacked soon if this continues, or at the end of the season.
Listen, guys, Bombay, I agree with you. For Manchester United, let me tell you how many people, how many teams that got relegated who are now comfortably in the Championship, right? There is Swansea, Cardiff, West Brom, Huddersfield, Leicester. Who else? All these about 6 or 7 teams. Norwich. They've all beaten Manchester United. They've beaten that's a scalp, yeah? They're all in the Championship now. That's what I say. That's our level. League 1 tonight is our level, right? Championship, bottom of the champ. That's our level. But I promise you guys, there is no other than a couple of deluded United fans in there, right? And there are some deluded football fans. There are. Because being a football fan, we all have to be deluded. Some of us have 5% of it. Some of us have 95% of it. Some of us have 50 of it. Some of us 20 of it. Some of us have 70 of it, right? It varies. But majority of Manchester United fans in the last decade. No, it's true. It's true.
Dino, be honest. Be honest with me. Am I in the 90s?
The idea is the pressure to play for Manchester United these days. It's laughable. And you guys need to think about what you are saying. There is zero pressure because the only thing to get to anywhere was top 4. And you know what? Out of the last 10 years, I think maybe 60%.
But no, you're the one who is making the outlandish. You're the one who is making the outlandish statement here. Like, think about what you're saying carefully. Like, there's no pressure to play for Manchester United Football Club.
There isn't, because we're not that fucking football club. We're not that.
You can say the pressure is not as much as it was
remember
before.
The football club. Listen,
like, you can say it's of a different type of pressure.
Remember
right
the
now,
football club. Let me remind you, Sean. The football club that Fergie built, the standards that Fergie set, the types of players that Fergie got, the way that Fergie drove and was in control of that football club.
All the more reason why there is pressure. We are living
Nuruddin, how do you define pressure? Because there's a lot of factors like other things that goes around the club. You know, it's not only pressure to win, but pressure from the fans, pressure to with the takeover, the wages.
Pressure the number of eyes that are watching you every time you play.
I don't see zilch pressure from fans after David Moyes got sacked, and then we got Louis van Gaal, and Don Jose came in. I honestly, in the last 10 years, somebody who lives in the city, Jarvis, and I'm not just saying that because, and not that I don't believe that, not in Northern Norway or in California or whatever. I don't mean that. I'm just saying to you, when I go and speak to Manchester United fans of like who are born and bred in the city, who are some of them in their 80s or 70s, right? There isn't any pressure. You know what they say to me? Football comes in cycles, son. And I try to explain to them about the Glazonomics and Glazer. They're like, what is that you told me? and you know, when I see them now, they say to me, yeah, you were right. They were never going to leave, son. They were never going to leave, son. I kept buying the newspaper because they're old men. They buy the newspapers and they're looking at every day. Qatar, this Qatar, Rio says Qatar is buying, man. You know, all of that. And they're like, you were right, son. So this, what I'm talking, especially at that age, they just say to me, football comes in cycles. Look, we didn't win it for 25 years. The Scousers didn't win it for 30 years. So I'm like, no, football now is changed because it's no longer the millionaire people that control football. Now it's the billionaire class that run football. So I tried to explain to them how structure all these things works, right? So what I'm saying to you is they are chilled. And even the younger fans, I swear to God, you know, Sylvester, Sol.
Yeah, Sol.
He knows. He knows. He's known it for the past 5 years. One of my good friends' son, he knows. He's like, we're not gonna win. I just want to see us play good football. Bro, majority I'm talking to 80-year-olds, and I'm talking to like from 9-year-olds. Now he's like 12, 13-year-olds, Jarvis. And I'm telling you, and girls as well, young girls, they're just like, we just want to play good football. We just want to go and see good goals and stuff like that. That's what they're interested in. So the ideas, what I mean by pressure is, there is no pressure for Manchester United to compete for a league title. There is no pressure for Manchester United to come for Champions Leagues. There's no pressure for Manchester United to win trophies year after year. Those type of pressure, that was there when Fergie was there. That was gone. And it's been a decade. We're now into the new decade, Jarvis. So that's the reason why. But I'll get you to give you the right to reply because I wanted to explain that. And the Glazers' only pressure, Jarvis, was in any manager or coach was to finish top 4. That's it, to bring the money in. They didn't give a fuck about Champions League. It's just about more eyes on the club. But go ahead, Jarvis.
Sorry. No, Sean's answer to the pressure.
I mean, one, what you just defined is still pressure. Two, I think I was willing to agree with you that the type of pressure basically has changed. It's no longer pressure to win titles, but it's still an intense, very demanding, highly pressurized job. To play for Manchester United, to manage Manchester United, it requires. So one of the things that Simon Jordan said, and I don't know, regardless of how anybody feels about TalkSport, I happen to like listening to Simon Jordan every morning. One comment he made about Ten Hag was that his suit did not fit him, basically, when he started the job. What he was implying was that Ten Hag did not seem like he had the stature required to manage Manchester United, because Manchester United is such an important job. It's well known that basically when news organizations want to drive traffic, they include Manchester United in their titles. In every Fabrizio thumbnail, he has Manchester United there, even if he's only spending 2 seconds on Manchester United. We're still the most talked about, one of the highest valued sports franchises, not just like football teams in the world. So it's a very intense, very demanding role. And not everybody's cut out for it. Obviously, I would agree with you that the stats have dropped from Fergie's time. The Glazers have decided that they were more comfortable, playing in a certain field. We're looking to compete on a certain level, not exactly in the title by title, because what became required to win titles in the post-Fergie era was the type of spending that Abramovich and Man City brought into play. Basically, that's the game. You either have to be a genius like Klopp. Like that's the only way you can get around this spending. You either have to be a genius like Klopp or a fluke like Leicester to compete at the top level now. Because unless you're willing to spend the way City are spending, the way Chelsea have been spending for a long time, the way people would have liked us to spend if we signed, if we were bought by Qataris. Arsenal
I would say, bro,
Listen,
do
I
you know?
want
I
to
tell you
let me
how
say
to.
something. Listen, we've gone on enough. Bumbaya quickly. Last comment. Jarvis last comment, and then Sean last comment. Go ahead.
There are two parallel realities that exist side by side, and the pressure lies in between them because we're trying to merge them. Manchester United's financial outlay and the type of players that it's been bringing in over the last 10 years are high-end players on very big money. But I think the other reality is we understand that we're not that team anymore. So when you are still, your outlay is that of a massive team, but we realize that our reality is we're not that team, and you're trying to merge those two. That still is a type of serious pressure, because when you're signing a player, let's say for 75 million, Sancho 350 a week, Anthony 85 million, you're expecting performance. And at the moment, man, we understand that we're not the treble winning Manchester United team, but we're still signing Pogba and Sancho and Casemiro and Martinez, even Maguire for 80 million, you know, when they were something. So, and that's where the pressure is quite huge. The manager comes in, and it's the question is, Ange Postecoglou seems to always pop up when we're having these exchanges, and well, he's spent nothing. Look at what they're doing. Why can't you do it? If there was no pressure and no expectation, then we wouldn't have this kind of rhetoric. But it is valid and it exists because I expect you to be the best. I expect you to be amongst the best. I'm giving you. But not only are you not even, there, you're nowhere near it. You're miles off it. And this is where my position comes in and says, look, Eric, if you were like fourth and we're playing decent football, I accept the injuries and stuff, but we're like seventh. This football has been shocking for a long time. The signings you've made have been dreadful and they've cost a lot of money. So there's a lot of negatives. And then that just me saying, well, I just don't have faith. You might be a great manager, but I don't think you're going to be good for us. So I think we need somebody else that can do better with the resources that we've given you.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
Oh, you're on. Yeah. Talking about pressure, in this club, I come to a state that I now feel that I love the team, but I don't love this group of players, and I want to keep the pressure on the players as hard as possible. I don't want us to sign any players this January. I want them to be exposed for the charlatans that they are. You know who I'm talking about. And they are not good enough. I want the pressure to be so high that they will crumble, and they will be exposed. So the new people in the club will see them for who they are and get rid. Because I'm sick of them, and we have been doing this. We have been going round and round in circle, trying to get them to work over and over again. But I can't see us winning anything with a lot of these so-called star players we have in this club, because I don't think they are good enough, and I don't think they have the right attitude. I don't think they have the right mindset to be winners and to create a competitive culture and trying to be the best. So for me, I hope no signings, and I hope that they will feel the pressure, and it's either sink or swim.
Yeah, fair enough, Jarvis.
That was nice.
Fair enough. I genuinely do not agree. Big up, Al said there is no pressure. They sacked 5 managers in 10 years. They're always from the pressure from the owner staff. And no, there isn't. From fans, no, there isn't. After Fergie left, we realised, when David Moyes was brought in, we realised that when Louis van Gaal, and they weren't giving him the signings that he wanted, we realised that when Jose, even like or hating, his football was shit.
Yeah, but Van Gaal, bro, everybody handed him out.
No, yeah, because you know what?
That was
you know
the pressure.
what? You know why? Because the football was passed between the fucking right back and the centre halves. And
It's
you
pressure.
know what? Going to the stadium, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. Going to the stadium was the most boring, dull fucking football. But it wasn't his fault. I found out later that they weren't signing the players that he wanted. They were signing 5th or 6th choice players that he didn't want. But I'm sorry, Al. There is zero pressure from fans. There is zero pressure. The standards that Fergie set were evaporated within 2 to 3 years. They disappeared like high-sec fucking so-so. They disappeared. They went, right? And the only reason why they sacked 5 managers is because I explained to you, and maybe you were not listening, top four, not that they care about anything, because Champions League, they wanted to go and bring their friends and have business meetings in Barcelona, in Bayern Munich, in Italy. That's what they wanted. Avram fucking Bold Mullet wanted that. That's what he wanted, right? So that is the reason why, and they wanted more money because they could cream off some of that money as dividends. That is it. Not that they fucking know anything about football.
Listen, we won tonight, so let's all go to Vings.
If I can just say quickly, when Moyes was sacked, we went and brought in, supposedly at the time, a well-respected manager.
A guy who passed it, to be fair.
Let me just.
He passed it. Nobody was hiring him. He became the Dutch manager because he wasn't getting a job anywhere else.
When we signed Van Gaal, when we brought in Van Gaal, he wasn't anybody's favorite, but who he was a well-respected manager on the back of a good performance with the Dutch national team in the World Cup.
This is a great
we brought in Van Gaal. He was the most boring person ever, but he had a sense of control. He was in charge.
Jermaine, he's probably on the inhalers. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah, did anyone, as in he was in charge, he was in control, but maybe he was a little too in control and a little too he was a micromanager of every single thing that the players did. The players didn't like him, the fans didn't like him. We sacked him, and he found out he was sacked on the news or something weird like that. And we went and brought in a supposed winner, somebody who we thought was a winner, Jose Mourinho. I think the management and ownership of this club, in their own tortured and misguided ways, have tried to win and have attempted to do it in a way that ultimately has resulted in failure. We have splashed money on players that didn't deserve it, on managers that may not have been the right fit at the right time. And when they decided to, they've been too sentimental or too, how do I put it now, accommodating of fans, because it was Ole's at the wheel, tell me how good does it feel, that led to Ole being made our permanent manager. It's what we wanted.
We're all
we
to blame for that.
Yeah, no, yeah. So the ownership, basically, they've been guilty of being a little too careless with their money because they're not prudent, responsible, dealing the way they should.
They put bankers who got no clue.
Me, I'm not part of this ensemble, Sean. I'm not part of this. I was Van Gaal and I was Mourinho, and sorry.
No, I mean, so at every single point in time, the fans were like you. They wanted these managers. Then we didn't like them anymore. Then we sang Ole at the wheel. Then the wheels came off. Then we liked, we loved Ragnick. I personally think Ragnick failed at his job and was talking so much, but that's a story for another day. We loved Ten Hag and everything that he was doing at the beginning, and now it doesn't look so great and we're upset. I think fans just want.
No, it doesn't. We're not upset. I'm sorry, Sean.
Let me just.
We're
no,
not
okay.
upset.
So let me speak myself. I am upset. I would just like to win. I would just like to win. I would just like 3 points. I think fundamentally, my view on football, the way it is 60% of the outcome that happens on the pitch is vibe, is mental, emotional. It's the remaining small 40% that is tactical, that requires some detail that the managers try and work on. But I know that a team that is feeling good, in good spirits, is going to play well. And that's about it. That's all you need. Basically, get the team playing together, get a group of people fighting for each other, and you would get results. And the manager had some of that last season. He lost it in the summer, big time. He didn't handle himself this season properly, and he himself has failed the squad. This is what complicates, I think, the anti-ownership or anti-Glazers crusade, because you have managers making conscious decisions that are costing them. And all these managers that we went through all made mistakes, different mistakes in their own way. That led to their own demise. And Ten Hag is doing his own. I would rather just give him time, to figure this shit out, because I can't take it anymore, honestly. And I don't see who can come in, whether it's Graham Potter or I don't want any of those other people. So I'm just, it's the devil, Let's figure it out together.
Listen, I understand. No, I understand. We agree on that one. I don't think sacking Ten Hag's going to fix any of this shit. I don't personally believe that. I genuinely don't. I think the club is broken, and I think it's a decade of brokenness. And I genuinely do think moving forward, there is no pressure on nobody. There is no pressure. I'm going to ask that to Twitter. Big up to all the people who follow us on Twitter. But I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to do a video tomorrow, and I'm going to ask that question. Actually, there might even be the show tomorrow. Is there any pressure? First of all, by the way, join us for tomorrow, people. We'll be live at 6 o'clock, 6:05 with Saeed TV. We'll be live before that with the Straight Jacket podcast. And the tomorrow's show is going to be how the disrespect to the African nations, how disrespected they are by European clubs, the attitude of European fans towards the African nations, and the disrespect from so-called African players towards their own national teams is absolutely shocking. It's shambolic. If FIFA calls you up, if you get called up by FIFA laws, you have to go. You must go, unless you retire from international football. And the way that
because the Nigerian FA doesn't pay their players, and I think African players have a lot of reasons to be angry with their local individual football.
For me personally, listen to me. For me personally, I will play for free. That's just me personally. If I'm playing in Europe, I would play for free, or I would give that money to charity. When you're earning, if you're playing in the Premier League, you're earning a decent wage. I will play for free, me personally, because I'd be like, you know what? If you can't afford it, or somebody's robbing the money, I just want to play for my country. That's what I would want to do. That's me. And I understand not everybody's me. So, yeah, that could be a point, Sean. But we'll be live tomorrow to discuss that. But, Jarvis, let people know where they can find it. And pick up Mick as well, all the way in Thailand, 7:44 a.m. Pick up. Football will change with Dodgy Dave and the marginal sexuals. Good night. Big up to you. Big up to Mick. Lots of love to Mick.
Yeah, but you can find both me and Mick on MUFC Realist TV, and you can find me on Twitter, Bowley77, BOLE77. You know the drill, guys. So, yeah, just add me or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So it's Bowley 77.
Yeah.
There you go. We've done that. And Sean, make sure you go and check out Sean Thomas, and is the podcast is called How
We See Things.
Yeah, How We See Things. That's the podcast. So yeah, go and check Sean out here. How We See Things. Bumbai is never going to be on social media. You'll never catch him anywhere else. It's what it is. Big up Windy Winners. United fan base doesn't have the patience for any rebuilding. No, it's not about patience. I think we just get giddy of the Twitter lot. I mean, if the Twitter lot had power to sack managers, Windy, we would have got rid of the Glazers by now. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have any power. The managers at Manchester United get sacked because the Glazers lose money, and that means Champions League money. That's all it can. Yeah, hopefully, maybe sometime next week. Sometime next week we'll do it. Definitely, next week we'll do it. We'll have a calling show. But yeah, see us tomorrow at 6:05 with ATV. We'll be live talking about the disgraceful things. But I genuinely, at this rate, after the decade of dog shite, I don't think there's any pressure on there's any pressure from fans on players. I genuinely don't. Other than the only pressure is to play good football. That's the only pressure. There's no pressure to win anything. The only pressure is to play good football. That's it. Or maybe to chase back. Or look like you're asked. That's the only pressure. There is no other pressure. That's what it is. Can't find me drinking at a Stella or OT. You can find me drinking some. Big up to Alien Tenno, man. Alien Tenno. Hopefully, if I come to that game, I'll definitely find you and buy you a drink. 100%. But big up to Craig Welby, Nuruddin. Very true. It's belated by FIFA and clubs. South American players die for their competition. 100% fact. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, disrespect. And I'm going to be hopefully... I might do a couple of watch-alongs, actually. I might do it, yeah. I might do a couple of watch-alongs for the African Cup of Nations, yeah. Put my money where my mouth is, eh? I'll do it. Big up. Love and light, everybody. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you know. We've just reached over 9K. We reached it on New Year's Eve, by the way. So congratulations to everybody. Big up to Sean. And big up to everybody else. We reached it New Year's Eve. So let's get to the road to 10K for the channel that's shadow banned, for the channel that's demonetized. We don't give a damn. We don't give a hoot. Free Palestine till we die. We take it to the grave. Free Palestine. Stop the genocide. The coward, the Arab leaders are cowards. Hold tight the Yemenis. Hold tight Algeria. Hold tight South Africa. Hold tight those people who want to stop the genocide. For all the other leaders, you can go and suck on one.